We're going to live troubleshoot Roger's zooming problem. What's wrong with your zooming? Thought it was the wireless mouse sending weird commands, but then you change the batteries twice and it doesn't seem to have fixed it.
All right.
Two all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun is not the Whopper. That's the Big Mac. And Big Mac now comes in 3 sizes because the Big Mac wasn't big enough anymore. Crazy times. Crazy times we live in. You know, the weirdest thing about going, I was talking before we went live here about how I went to McDonald's because I saw the movie The Founder and I wanted to order the original hamburger, fries, Coke, see how it's done these days. And do
you mind if I reboot? Just so I see if I can get it's
okay. Yeah, if you got to, you got to.
All right. Bookmark these.
Chrome will remember your tabs.
Yeah, these 2 days tabs. That will not help because today is today. All right, restarting.
So anyway, here I am alone. Yeah, so I liked The Founder. It was good. I wanted to experience that original lineup, and the idea that I had was to order the hamburger, the fries, and the Coke, smalls, the original menu items. Hamburger, I didn't see on the menu. Saw cheeseburger all over the place, but you know, and of course the 3 sizes of Big Macs and quarter pounder and all that stuff. Hamburger did show up because they have those electronic menus that flip from one thing to another so they can have more items up there. Finally saw it on the Happy Meal menu. You can get a Happy Meal with a hamburger or cheeseburger. I don't think I ever saw just the hamburger listed on the menu, which I thought was pretty crazy. Schnago says McDonald's tricks him into visiting every 10 to 12 years, and he's always disappointed. I have to say, as I mentioned before I went live, it just tasted like ketchup. The burger did. Ketchup and salt. Oh, Thrumwald said he tested the Burger King ad with his Google Home before Google blocked it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Google Home wakes up, but then goes back to sleep. So I think Google's not returning a result for that voice search because it's so you got it after they blocked it. Yeah, as of 2:45 Eastern, the Burger King ad no longer triggers the Google Home. So Google hasn't said anything about it, but it does seem like they've put a block on it. It was I mean, I think a lot of people are shaking their fists at Burger King today, and pretending to be outraged. I don't know how many people this actually affected. I mean, a lot more people are outraged than it actually affected because, wow, it's fashionable these days to be outraged about stuff. If I can be outraged about something, I'm going to get outraged. But I don't know that too many people actually unexpectedly had Burger King's ad trip off their Google Home. I should probably save some of this for the show, but I do think Burger King achieved their ends. They wanted press, and they've got it. We're going to talk less about the ad and the advertising side of it on the show. Roger and I are going to talk about more from the smart speaker side of it, from the side of it about, hey, you know, why is it that we're in a situation where this works, and when can we get to a situation where it doesn't? Yeah. It is. I mean, how do you guys feel? I certainly am not going to throw stones at people who express outrage. I am a person who many times have expressed outrage over something on the internet, but I find myself less wanting to do so. And even in cases where there's legitimate need for it, wondering like, is it necessary to get mad about this? It just feels like everybody, like it is the cool thing. It is the common thing to get mad. It is uncool to find something positive. in something these days.
Uh,
All right, Roger's back. My monologue that I've been going on may now end.
still wonky. Mother junker.
Can you work with it, or do you need to fix it before we can go?
Yeah. I mean, why are you still so big to me?
I don't think he means me. That's what I'm saying. Like, is it something you have to fix to be able to do the show, or can you get by?
I can get by, but I don't know why it's doing. I haven't done anything. Like,
No,
it was
I know.
working.
Did you try plugging in a mouse?
Yeah, let me do that real quick.
Try plugging in a mouse and turning off the wireless just to eliminate that. All the cool kids are being negative. Yeah. So I would say, and this is just what I'm doing myself. Anytime I feel that snarky remark coming on, I ask myself, is it really that funny? Is it actually really contributing anything to the conversation? And is there something equally entertaining or insightful that you could say that isn't negative? Sometimes I'll post that snarky thing anyway. I'm not saying there's no place for snark in the world. But man, there's plenty of it. There's no dire deficit of snark and negativity going on these days. Through my life, I've been the person, with a little bit of a cynical bent, so I get it. I understand. Strike it rich. Every time I feel a snarky remark, I run over and post it on Fark. That's what it's there for. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if Roger.
Yeah, as soon as I turned it off, it's fine.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the wireless mouse.
God, man, I don't know what to do.
Don't use a wireless mouse.
Well, I guess I need a new mouse. Well, it's kind of annoying.
That out later.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I'll need sharing.
Yep, it's there. It's still there.
Let's see.
You got your tabs.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Here. Oh, let me get the right thing up. Here we go.
The Daily Tech News Show is powered by its audience and many Texans, not outside organizations. To support the Daily Tech News Show, visit dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, April 12th, 2017. I'm Tom Merritt. With me today, Roger Chang, our producer, sitting in the hot seat, filling in for Mr. Scott Johnson, who is out and about on a family jaunt to Las Vegas. Do you believe him, Roger?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I accidentally said that Scott was going to be on the show yesterday. He's not. He's out gambling away his family's fortune in Las Vegas. I don't even think he gambles, but he'll be back next week. Meantime, though, Roger, we have been gifted a lovely conversation to have today.
Have we? Yes, we have. Yeah, forgive me. I'm having a little screen issue right now, and all I see is your lips. But we can. Yes, well, we have a lovely discussion.
Lovely. I'm sorry about you having to see my lips. Let's start with a few tech things you should know. Burger King made a 15-second ad that ends by triggering Google Home. Doesn't work anymore. Sure, everybody's fine with it. Nobody's upset, right? That's going to be our main topic today, so we'll save that for later. Facebook reports its Messenger app now has 1.2 billion monthly active users, up from 1 billion in July. And Facebook really wants to keep that number going up because they want to become the worldwide messaging app. They want to, they don't operate in China, but anywhere else, they want to be the app that people use to message. And I have to say, Roger, I find myself using it more often than I would think that I would for various reasons.
It's a little odd because, to be honest, it's not something you actively think about. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to switch over to Messenger. It's like, that person's on Messenger. I'll just hit them up over that. And it's, at least in my case, it's very subtle, but it literally has become my second default like, who do I know? I'll hit them up on Facebook Messenger, versus like, oh, they're on GChat, or oh, let me hit them on SMS kind of thing. And it's I have to say, of all the Facebook things, it's probably one of the things I use. It's one of the things at the top of the list I use very frequently.
I'm dragged into it because other people use it, but sometimes that's the only way to get in touch with them.
Yes.
Or it's the only thing that both of us have. I'm like, well, I do have Messenger, so sure. Everybody's got a Facebook account, right? Samsung told Axios.com that the voice feature of the Bixby Assistant for the Samsung Galaxy S8 will not be available at launch in the United States. However, the Vision, Home, and Reminder functions will be available at the U.S. launch on April 21st. Sounds like they just don't have an English version working, which is odd.
Could be, or they just want to kind of dial everything in, so they'll have cross your fingers, a very
you would think they would want that dialed in by announcement time, certainly by launch time. So
maybe they uncovered something last minute, and
maybe.
and they're very sensitive about negative press,
Yes,
right?
They certainly are.
So
now here are some more top stories. Microsoft sent out invites for an event May 2nd in New York City. Now, everybody in the press has been nosing around trying to find out when's Microsoft going to announce their next hardware. Usually they have a spring announcement. What's it going to be? ZDNet's Mary Jo Foley, co-host of Windows Weekly, has been saying, it doesn't sound like we're getting any new Surface tablets. Well, here's the big event, and it's so funny. It's so funny to me how many reporters, and respectable reporters, just can't not still speculate about whether there might be some Surface hardware at this event or what kind of hardware will be at the event. But here's the title: Learn What's Next, Microsoft EDU. So if it's a hardware launch, as rumored, it's going to be centered around education. So I don't know, Roger, if you've got a guess, but my guess is that we'll see some kind of Chromebook competitor maybe, but we're not going to see a mainstream piece of hardware.
I have a feeling it might be kind of like a hardware not software, but service that goes hand in hand.
Yeah. And built around education, right?
Exactly. And so it might be something where it's like, well, it's not completely brand new, but it is packaged or it's been tweaked for a very specific, in this case, academic education market. And it's one of those things where the less you know about, the less you're like, I'm not sure. It's kind of funny because the less the less details you have about, the little less interested some people get, right? It's like, well,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any leaks. They haven't, you haven't heard any rumors about like, oh, they have a new screen design or new keyboard or anything. It's just like, it must be all very dull and uninteresting because no one has bothered to leak.
The one rumor that Mary Jo Foley mentioned was the idea, and this came from Digitimes, which has a spotty record, of some kind of clamshell cloud-based hardware, which would be a Chromebook competitor of some sort. That combined with this actual Microsoft invite that's about education sounds like, well, maybe it won't be clamshell. I don't know about that. Maybe it will be. But I could see them coming up with a Chromebook competitor, a Microsoft cloud device targeted towards education, because Google's been doing very well selling Chromebooks to the education sector.
Could very well be. I mean, it's that part of the market is still one of those where if you not plan big, but if you can hit all your targets in a row, it could be a very big. I wouldn't say payout, but it could be a very lucrative market. But
it's not as lucrative as the enterprise in general, because education isn't rife with money. But it's large orders and repeat orders often.
And it's repeat orders, and the spinoff is, and Apple kind of did this, is students who are using these Microsoft branded products later on in life. Well, I'm just going to default to Microsoft because that's what I used in school and that's what I'm familiar with. That's what Apple was making on when it was doing all those educational discounts with Apple IIs to schools, because kids learn on an Apple II. Well, what are they going to use at home? They're going to use an Apple II.
Which is odd with Chromebook when you think about it, right? Like,
yes.
You're not going to grow up and, well, I guess you could grow up and keep using a Chromebook. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's not like they have a next level product to graduate to in that space.
Although it could be akin to like, I slept in a racing car when I was a kid, so I'm an adult. I'm gonna get a racing car to sleep in, but this
The
time a
inter-
real one.
The Internet Association, which represents companies like Google, Facebook, Netflix, and Microsoft, met with U.S. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai Tuesday to share views on net neutrality. The association wants the FCC to forbid using so-called choke points to extract fees or slow down certain sites. This is probably a reference to what Netflix went through when Comcast said, well, if you want us to upgrade throughput, you've got to, strike a deal with us. They want to prohibit ISPs from selling prioritized access, the so-called fast lanes, where they say, oh, well, we'll deliver you at a prioritized rate if you pay us a little money. That both of those things are currently prohibited in varying ways, particularly fast lanes. Fast lanes is 100% prohibited by the current open internet guidelines, but Ajit Pai has indicated he wants to change the open internet guidelines. He apparently told the telecoms last week that he wants to put a voluntary scheme in place that would be enforced by the Federal Trade Commission. So it's... The knee-jerk reaction is often to say, the FCC in the pocket of big companies. But which big companies? Because you have the biggest companies in the world, in companies like Google and Microsoft, saying, we don't want you to change anything, but if you are, we want to make sure that you don't change these parts of it. And then you have the telecoms, which are big companies as well, who've got a longer lobbying tradition, saying, oh no, we really need you to scrap that whole thing because it gets in our way.
The cynic in me would say that Pai is essentially just positioning himself for some sort of future political career by basically bowing to the interests of selected. When you say big companies, I think it sends like, well, just people with money are forcing this issue. I think it's people with selected interests. So much.
In other words, if I am an FCC chairman looking to become like Michael Powell did, the head of the telecommunications organization, the CTIA, or the cable organization, the NCTA, then I want to make those people happy because I am not going to get a job with a lobbying organization for Google or Facebook. Is that kind of what you're going for?
Kind of. I mean, it is. I think sometimes people might be a little. Might be a little too. I don't want to use the word naive, but they assume that it's very straightforward. You give them money and they do what you want. Pai might have a different agenda, and this might play into it or not. I mean, it really.
Well, Wheeler came from there. Yeah. He came from the CTIA, right? Or was the NCTA? He came from the CTIA, right? Yeah, the telecom organization. But, I mean, it's one thing to have come from. It's another thing to be going towards.
And, I mean, I'm on the fence of this could just be him honestly believing that this is a bad, what net neutrality is now is truly a bad thing. Or, and maybe in 6 months he'll, reveal the rest of his hands and indicate that, he is just being very political, very, self-interested about how he's positioning himself.
It's usually a combination, right? Nobody acts from one motivation.
Oh, no.
There's probably a combination of the ideology he subscribes to and the motivation, which actually goes hand to hand. If your true belief is that telecom should be unfettered, you also are probably the kind of person who wants to work in the telecom industry.
Yeah. It's a little disheartening. Actually, it's very disheartening. But I think yes. But I think the plus side is that you do have these large internet companies that are standing up and saying, "Hold on." This isn't actually in the best interest of the industry, and here's why. There's pushback.
Well, it's not in their best interest. Yeah. I don't think they're really doing it on behalf of you.
Oh no, that's But I mean, the fact that there is pushback is a sign that it isn't. People aren't completely.
Yeah, now that there are other rich organizations involved, they're going to listen to them.
Yeah.
So. Qualcomm has agreed in arbitration to pay BlackBerry $814.9 million to settle a royalty dispute. If you think I misspoke there, I meant to say Apple. No, I picked the right fruit. It's BlackBerry and Qualcomm settling a patent dispute. The arbitrator determined that Qualcomm's royalty cap program should have applied to payments made by BlackBerry under a licensing deal, and that therefore BlackBerry had overpaid royalty fees between 2010 and 2015. Yes, Qualcomm is fighting a similar battle over licensing fees with Apple that we've mentioned as well.
So what is this? Is like, every week there seems to be a patent litigation, either in going in or coming out.
It's
right?
come back. It's come back. It had died down for a while, but it really seems to have come back. And this time it's all about mobile technology versus design. Yeah. The last wave was all about chamfered edges and rounded corners and things like that. This time it's about chip design, and I think a lot of it has to do with Qualcomm realizing that they need to protect their borders, that some of their patents may be their future revenue indicators, because a lot more people are starting to eat into their space, especially with Apple trying to make their own chips in a lot of cases.
And
or design anyway.
But it's also telling how deeply in bed all these companies are with each other. I mean, BlackBerry's still in partnership with Qualcomm, right? That this hasn't. I don't think this will necessarily sour any future collaboration.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you could really fairly say they're in bed if there's a patent that they have to license to build their product. I mean, that's just, they don't have a choice.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like but that's what I mean. I mean, you what are you going to do? I mean, you just can't. It's like you going to. It's like going to. You're at a law firm and you're basically in a dispute with one of the partners, and you start going at it through the court. I mean, it just seems very like stuff like this. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, it's like, whoa, maybe we won't be working with these guys anymore, kind of thing. But it's like, where do you go? I mean, you are.
The Qualcomm Apple one is a bigger deal because Apple can just try, design their own thing, right? And that's probably part of why Qualcomm is a bit defensive there. With the BlackBerry one, this might, we tend to want to really personalize and emotionalize these sort of things because, you see headlines of Qualcomm refuses and BlackBerry demands. And of course, legal notifications have to be written that way because you want them to appear strong. But I'll be honest, if you see these guys in the conference room talking about this, they're probably all friends. They probably all go golfing and have dinners with each other.
I'm sure that's probably not the case, but they do meet each other for Christmas parties.
Yeah, or something, right? But they don't hate each other. It's that BlackBerry's like, we don't really think we should have, had to pay the extra license fee. That should have fallen under the cap. And Qualcomm's like, well, no, we don't, we think you did need to pay that. And they go to court. Not everything is an "I'll see you in court!" moment.
That's true. But when it does, I mean, it's that is like it's pretty serious stuff. Like you
want to avoid it. Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems to just be a lot of these, and I guarantee we're going to see a lot more.
Well, and I think what is significant, you're right about it, is we've seen a couple in a row from Qualcomm, and granted, 2 doesn't make a pattern, but that combined with the fact that Qualcomm is under, not, I wouldn't say siege, but there's a lot of people trying to move in on their territory, so they need to stake it out while they can, because having good patent revenue is what's actually making BlackBerry continue to survive. So
yeah, it is. I have said too much.
I've said too much already. I don't think you've said too much, but yeah. Amazon's kid-friendly book video and app service called Amazon Free Time is adding a new parent dashboard. Along with activity reports, the dashboard will feature something called discussion cards that will suggest topics for conversation or activities with children based on what they've been doing on the service. So books they've been reading, videos they've been watching, games they've been playing. The cards are written by Amazon content editors. This is not an AI thing. There's a little algorithm that's matching them up, though. $3 per child for Prime members, $5 a child otherwise is what Free Time costs. That part isn't new, but these discussion cards are. And I know your daughter, Roger, definitely enjoys her tablet.
She does.
But it's not an Amazon tablet, is it?
It's not an Amazon tablet. It's a Samsung Galaxy tablet, I'll have you know. And it's pretty handy. I mean, she's at the age where she just loves like those kid videos on YouTube, and so we have the YouTube Kid app on it. You know, and I was looking at free time a while ago, and I realized, you need a Fire tablet. You need to buy into the ecosystem. I have a Kindle, so as she gets to the age where she actually can read, I'll probably try to get up on that. Um, but it is very helpful to have a parent dashboard. It's one of those things I think Amazon is getting right from out of the gate, is that you do want to have some sort of moderation tool that parents can use to manage your kids' screen time. Right? You don't want them constantly looking at a screen. It's not like it's not like I don't have a no screen time, but I would like to minimize it if possible. Although with kids, it's
You do what you can, yeah.
you do what you can, but
and I already see a couple people in the chat room with similar comments, but I've seen some people in reaction to this story say, "Oh, yeah, let spy on your kid instead of actually talking to them." Do you feel like this replaces interaction, or is it supplemental, saying, "Oh, well, no, I mean, I can see what my kid's doing, but I can know a little more by looking at this."
You know what? Kids are for the most part still kids, right? You can talk to them about things, but they might not necessarily be as articulate as an adult when it comes to talking about things they like and things they do. And so what you do is you can base at least some informed decision based on their behavior, like certain videos. Oh, they like dinosaurs, right? Or you think they like dinosaurs, but what they really like are things with teeth, like sharp teeth. So it could be like a shark or something else. And so it's I understand I understand, like, oh, you're gonna spy on your kids, but you know what? When you're watching your kid and you're checking out their friends or where they've been or what they're doing, yeah, you are spying on them because you're their
You're
parent.
trying to take care of them.
You're
Yeah.
trying to take care of them. You're trying to understand what's happening in their world, and you can't do that necessarily by having a Leave It to Beaver sit down on the bed frank discussion, because that doesn't happen.
Well, plus, I like seeing data about myself. At Google Analytics dashboard that tells me what apps I've been using and how many emails I like seeing that, because it tells me things about myself that I don't realize. You can find out patterns that you wouldn't realize yourself. So why wouldn't you want that for your kid to be like, oh, this is the book they're really been spending a lot of time with. That's cool. I can verify that they've been spending a lot of time with. And then these content cards say, hey, you know what? Ask them about this aspect of the book, or maybe take them to this museum where they can find out more. I think that's all positive. I think that's great.
And really, I mean, these are just tools, right? I mean, it's really up to the parent on how they're used and integrated into the parenting aspect. And it's very easy to say that well, you're just going to be one of those not like tight-fisted parents that just want to control every aspect of their kid's life. It comes down to the parent, really.
I mean, if you're a helicopter parent, this isn't going to make things better, but it also won't turn someone into that. It's a tool. Yeah.
It definitely is a tool, and I think it's great. I was looking through it. I didn't see what I would have liked is just something that would have flashed, like where you could put reminders, like, hey, it's time to turn off the screen, go outside and play, or hey, did you do your homework, or some other things that you
can't customize a message.
That I went through that I did not see, but possibly there might be something that they're gonna. The other thing I would love to have added was to customize some of these cards.
That would be a cool thing for them to add, so that you could put your own cards.
Or like, for example, like, oh, we went to the zoo today. Does that remind you of the cat you read in, Splat the Cat book or something?
Sure. Google has a new web-based drawing tool called Auto Draw that uses machine learning to suggest professionally drawn art to replace what you draw, unless you're a professional artist. Say you start doodling a dog, Auto Draw will then put drawings of dogs up at the top for you to choose and insert into your drawing. You can try it out on any device. It's cross-platform because it's just a website at autodraw.com. I am going to attempt to do some auto draw while I get your reaction to this, Roger.
Part of me really likes this. The other part of me kind of doesn't like it. From an artistic sense, I think part of why this might be considered somewhat abhorrent is that it's a skill you want to develop and hone. So you need to practice, right? It's like if you're playing the piano or learning to play the piano, and you're playing something, you're just really bad at it first up. But piano essentially covers up for you by it's like, oh, this is what you wanted to play, and so you sound like well, maybe not a concert pianist, but at least someone who's played it for a while.
Apparently, my drawing is so bad
It came up with a circle
that it can't even give me anything. Or Privacy Badger was stopping a service from running. I can't tell for sure. There we go. Privacy Badger must have been stopping it because I'm trying to draw a dog and nothing was coming up. But now it is. It thinks I'm trying to draw a rat. Oh, no, there's some dogs and spiders up there. Okay, so there. See, so I can draw this horrible thing and then choose that. Oh, look, I drew this dog. Do you like my dog that I drew?
Nice.
Yeah.
Well-proportioned lines.
Thank you. So you, I think this is great. I don't have any problem with this at all.
I think it's great for people who don't care to learn. They just want to be able to illustrate something for.
This is and this is a drawing tool. It doesn't just do that little trick of replacing your drawing with a better one. It allows you to make flyers and I mean it's a total paint tool. So if you're like, hey, I want to make a birthday flyer for somebody, I can't draw, but I don't want to have to search around for birthday cakes. I kind of know what I'm looking for. I could sketch it out and then give me a better one. What's wrong with that?
Oh no, and that's what I'm saying. Half of me loves this idea. The other half of me is like, oh, what are you doing? It's like having to play your piano. You're going to play the piano or not, kind of thing. And so,
well, if you can't play the piano, then the player piano is the better option, right?
That's my point. And therefore, there are two sides of me.
Yeah, I hear you.
Fighting is like, it's stupid, but no, it's the best thing ever for people who might not be the best or don't want to learn, but they need to put together a presentation, a flyer, some sort of notice with.
Big Jim says it's fun for Pictionary.
That's cheating, though. Really, isn't it?
That would be that's a bridge too far, Big Jim.
That I think is a little cheap.
Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines in each day, less than 5 minutes, around 5 minutes, subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. We summarize all the stuff for you. It's available on Amazon Echo and in the new Anchor app available in the App Store. All right. Let us move on to Burger King, which began running that 15-second ad that ends by triggering Google Home to read the first paragraph of a Wikipedia entry for the Whopper burger. This upset some Google Home users. It also might upset whoever has the next ad after Burger King, or you if you're trying to hear the program if the Burger King ad's the last thing in the set. I don't know if that ever happened. They may have said, no, it can only start a series of ads. It also set off an editing war on the Wikipedia article. Fermacado123 appears to have changed the Burger King article on April 4th. He also appears to be Fernando Machado, the marketing chief for Burger King. So if this is true, on April 4th, perhaps Burger King's marketing chief went in and changed the Wikipedia entry so it would sound better when it went off as part of this ad. It has been changed since because once people figured out this was happening, and of course everybody can edit Wikipedia, everybody tried to go and put horrible things in Wikipedia, and then the Wikipedia editors changed them back, and then they ended up putting the article under a protected status and reverted it to before the April 4th changes, Roger.
So do we know what he changed it to?
Okay, yes. What it says now and what it said before Machado got to it was the Whopper sandwich is the signature hamburger product sold by the international fast food restaurant chain Burger King and its Australian franchise Hungry Jack's, which is, it's true. It's fine. And it isn't really a great thing for an ad to trigger. So it got changed on April 4th to the Whopper is a burger consisting of a flame-grilled patty made with 100% beef with no preservatives or filters, topped with sliced tomatoes, onions, lettuce, pickles, ketchup, and mayonnaise, served on a sesame seed bun. Which, honestly, is also 100% true. If you didn't tell me a marketing person wrote this, I'd say, oh, well, that's just someone writing up the ingredients of a Whopper.
It's I mean, there have been cases of this before. I mean, that's one of the dangers, or at least complaints people have about Wikipedia, is that its potential of being adulterated to a specific end that may not be in the interest of the general researcher or person who wants to learn about what goes into a Whopper.
It's only the beef part that sounds ad copy to me. A flame grilled patty made with 100% beef with no preservatives or fillers. If this thing just says the Whopper is a beef burger topped with sliced tomatoes, onions, lettuce, pickles, then it doesn't sound as ad copy like to me, and it's fine. But that still brings us to the question of first of all, should Burger King be editing its own Wikipedia entry? No, that's just bad manners.
Bad form.
Yeah, it's bad form. And two, should they be setting off people's Google Home? No, they shouldn't. But also, these things shouldn't be set off, right? I mean, there needs to be a way for these not to be set off this way.
I think it needs to be approached on several fronts. One, like with Wikipedia, I mean, there should be a level of etiquette, at least in marketing or ad circles, about how you approach Internet of Things or smart speakers or voice assistants or whatever. Like, that's not a line you cross, right? You could stick a flyer on someone's door, right? But you don't open the door, go in, and then put a cut out of a pizza pie on their dinner table, saying, "Hey, this could be home tonight if you call this number." It's like, no, there's a line that doesn't be crossed, and I think because it's so easy and so simple, some people might say, well, there really isn't a barrier, and if people didn't want to listen, they wouldn't have it on, right? At least by the TV where it can be listened to. And I think as we move into this and these devices become more ubiquitous, I think there needs to be a line drawn, at least if not in the industry, at least within broadcasting or advertising, people who actually do the sales, like, hey, we're not going to run this because this might trigger whatnot, in the same way that we have ad guidelines on, like, you can't do cigarette ads.
Because this isn't, it might trigger. That's what happened during the Super Bowl. Google ran an ad that used its trigger word, but I don't think they did it on purpose, because when it triggered the Google Homes, it didn't bring up anything. It just had Google Home going, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said, right? So I don't think that was on purpose. This is definitely on purpose.
Yeah. And it's a little annoying. I think in many ways it's right up there when you get a telemarketer call on your phone, like, where it's got
that same feel of like, no, I didn't ask for this. Stop it.
It's unsolicited. I'm assuming most people would unwanted by most people, and people should like, you know what, I don't want this. Google, give me the option, or Amazon, give me the option of just being able to blanket out anything that comes out of my TV, or put something in the signal that that we can't hear.
Well, and that's what happened at 2:45 p.m. Eastern time today. Suddenly, the Burger King ad stopped triggering Google Home. However, if you say, what is a Whopper burger, then it will still do it. It appears, although Google hasn't confirmed it, but it appears that Google blocked specifically the sound of the ad from triggering.
I mean, is that our new do not call list in the future? You got to create a filter of ads.
No. This, by the way, the poor guy, I hope the guy who was in the ad doesn't own a Google Home, because now his Google Home isn't going to work for him because they blocked his voice print. No, what they should do is make this so that only you can trigger your device. And there's been talk about having multiple accounts show up for the Google Assistant. The Pixel phone can distinguish by user. So Google can do it, but they don't seem to be able to do it on the Google Home yet. There was a Time report back on February 27th saying Amazon is working on a feature to distinguish between individual users that is supposedly called Voice ID. But again, these devices don't do it yet. So at this point, you're stuck with turn off the mic if you're going to be watching TV, or maybe change the wake word, which you can do with Amazon Echo. You can't do that with the Google Assistant. And training the voice, which I don't think you can do on Google Home either, but you can do on Amazon. If you train the voice, that may refine it enough that it only responds to you, especially maybe if you have an accent or something like that. But there really isn't much you can do at this point.
And I think, I think we will be in it for at least a short period of time. We'll see a lot of there's going to be a lot of activity where, not just advertisers, but whoever. It could be like, a robocall, like for a political action party. You could have a candidate literally put in their ad, at least for the initial 2 runs, like, don't forget to vote for me and check out, and then Google,
Yes.
Okay, Google, check out blah, 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 the damn project that totally overspent $8 billion because my opponent wasted money. It's stuff like that.
Although with a robocall, you'd have to have it on speakerphone for it to work. But you could do a political ad on TV.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not an actual phone, but like a political ad on TV that triggers. Yeah. And it's gonna be kind of a little a wild year or maybe half a year until I guess these companies start setting up filters. And
Thrumwald points out one of the worst things about these assistants is if they don't respond when you want them to. And so the companies have erred on that side of things. And granted, a little Super Bowl snafu, this Burger King ad, it's not the end of the world. Neither of these things have done horrible things. Yeah, there was the San Diego announcer who accidentally ordered things for people on their Amazon Echo because he didn't realize you can put in a 4 code on your Amazon Echo to protect yourself, and maybe you should do that, a 4-digit code to protect yourself. None of these things have been really horrible yet. These are the clarion calls. These are the times when we should say, hey, if Burger King could do this, people with nastier ideas could also do this. And so let's figure this out sooner rather than later.
Yes. And, I don't know what form it will take. I mean, I would hate for it to resort to a physical, like, you got to hold down this button and then speak.
Well, I mean, and that's your workaround, especially on Google Home, is turn off that mic except when you're going to use it. That definitely makes it less convenient, though.
Yeah, and that is the balance. How do you make it convenient, but how do you also make it intelligent enough to do where it discerns, but also affordable enough so people buy them?
Well, it's all about a cloud service, right? So it's making sure that with the mic equipment that you have on this, and if they can put it in the Pixel, they should be able to put it in the Home, I would think. Can you recognize voices well enough? And the first company that nails it, where they can limit it by voice print and still have that 99.999% responsiveness, is going to have a big marketing advantage at that point. Because even if this isn't affecting people a lot, I mean, I don't think a lot of people got affected by this Burger King ad, but a lot of people are upset by the idea of it. So they would respond to somebody saying, hey, guess what? We now have voice ID.
I think this is where our super smart AI from our previous discussion will come about.
Definitely.
It's like it's just hiding around because all it's doing is listen to people talk and then figure out whether or not they were ordering something.
Hey, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. We had a couple of you guys, good to see SP Sheridan back in the subreddit, submitting this very story. You can submit stories, and you should definitely go in and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Finishing up with a couple of picks of the day related to that conversation about AI that we had with Rob Reed. David said he's very much looking forward to and has already pre-ordered After On by Rob Reed. But while waiting for the release date, he says, I want to recommend John C. Wright's The Golden Age. This far-future space opera imagines humanity's relationship to its super-intelligent creations and tells the story of one man's quest to reclaim some of what was lost in the singularity. Whether you believe in the singularity or not, you can still avoid a nice tale about it by John C. Wright. That's called The Golden Age. And then William Madison at blindinsight.com wrote, Robert Sawyer wrote the WWW trilogy, Wake, Watch, Wonder, that explores the emergence and the effect that a superintelligence can have. The series may be a little bit too young adult for some, but it does present some interesting questions about the development of a superintelligence and the consequences for life on Earth. Again, that's the Wake, Watch, and Wonder books, the WWW trilogy from Robert Sawyer. We'll have links to both of them in the show notes at dailytechnewsshow.com as well. Thank you, Roger Chang, for stepping in and pinch hitting today. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to be on the show.
Anything to tell folks about that you've got going on besides producing Daily Tech News Show?
Nah, just visit me on my Twitter or follow me at Jolly Roger. I post a number of unrelated things at odd times of the day and not always regular. But if you want to laugh or chuckle, I might be able to do that.
Yeah, and Roger's very good about posting interesting news articles and things like that, so you should go follow him, Jolly Roger, on Twitter. Thanks to everybody who gives a little value back to this show for the value they get from the show. I was saying in the pre-show today, too, I've had a few emails from folks who can't support the show anymore because they're looking for a job or they just hit some financial difficulties, and we totally understand when that happens. It makes us extra appreciative of those of you who do have the ability to continue to support the show, like Jason Haas, Richard Chatters, Daniel Lindahl, and many more at patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Nice.
Yes, sorry
Did it
about
ever stop doing it?
Yeah, no, I had to. Chrome finally let me go back to actual size.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't OS 10, it was Chrome, and it's just being wonky. Like it was
Once
doing,
you went back to actual size, did it actually stay?
snap back to actual size. Yeah.
It stayed there? Okay.
Yes.
That's weird.
That's why I started running right when I started running screens again. It saw me running screens. Man, I don't know if it's Chrome doing weird updates, but
maybe it was the wireless mouse doing something to Chrome that then persisted even after you changed mouses.
Maybe. I don't know. That just seems. But if it's Chrome,
Well, because I used to have a problem where if Chrome would zoom in, I would suddenly be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of it. And then I figured out the actual size option in the menu. But every once in a while, I don't know what I'll do. I'll just hit the trackpad on the laptop in the wrong way, and it zooms in. So if your wireless mouse did something weird and then it just stayed, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's just Chrome.
What do we got for titles?
All right. All I see is your lips.
Of course.
What's the beef with Google Home?
I like that. That's
was a good
clever.
one. Bixby is starting to hulk out. BK Google now. Internet gets a pie in the face. A Royal, which cheeses Google homeowners off.
A Royale
with
with cheese. But that's a McDonald's burger, not a Burger King burger.
Burger King makes a Whopper of a mistake. It's waiting for one of those. Okay, Google, what's the beef? Okay, Google, have it my way. Burger Rage. Qualcomm pays a lot for them BlackBerry patents. Actually, BlackBerry was paying too much.
I thought you said pants, not patents, for some reason.
BlackBerry's trying to actually claw back some of the money they gave to Qualcomm because they thought
it's the other way around.
Paying.
The joy of drawing with Tom Merritt.
That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
But what's the beef with the Google Home?
A good. Whopper of a mistake. That's good too, GPad.
Yes. Wait, where's that?
What's the beef? It was a whopper of a mistake.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, that was good too.
I just voted it. Whopper.
Whopper.
Yeah, I made a mistake of getting one of their 2 for $5 deal things. Man. Oh, what is it about fast food that makes it so delicious going in, but
it's not that good.
It's not, but you just like it.
It just hits your salt buttons or something.
You know,
that's what
I think it is. So I just started buying. I bought these. I think I tweeted about it. I bought these Ruffle all dressed chips, which are like super Canadian potato chip flavor.
Okay, so they taste like hockey. Got it.
No, it doesn't. It actually tastes like.
It's a joke.
It tastes like ketchup mixed with barbecue sauce.
Okay.
And vinegar.
Well.
And it doesn't really taste all that delicious, but I eat one and I can't stop eating.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So one of the things I learned when I read The Foodist, by Daria Rose, was that if you have to reset your palate, because when you trigger some of those tastes, your body just wants to keep eating them. Like, I don't necessarily crave chocolate chip cookies, but then when I eat one, I want to eat like 5 more, right? So you can't eat just one is totally a thing. And she says it doesn't just happen in small time increments. You can build up a system where you do crave things because you're having them regularly, and if you stop having them regularly, you'll stop craving them. Well, and I found that to be true when I started to eat healthier. Suddenly, things that I used to think of as delicious just looked bad to me, did not sound good anymore, because I wasn't craving that little salt or fat rush.
Well, I'll tell you what kind of knocked me off that one was stopping a lot of the salt, like the salty snacks and foods.
Yeah.
And after a while, a lot of those pizza ads, it doesn't matter, Domino's or whatever, it just all those ads make me feel sick. Like I can't. It's like, why do people eat that? It's like eating drywall.
But you know that you used to look at them and think they look great. Yeah. So it's all happening it's all in your head, as they say on This Week in Science.
It's like, pizza, not just pizza, but things like TGIFs or not Ruby Tuesdays.
Now, some things always appeal to me, like tacos. I never don't want tacos or Mexican food in general.
I don't, and this is the other thing. I don't really like hard shell tacos anymore. I like the sauce.
I didn't like hard shell tacos very much for a long period of time. Then I moved down to LA, and I'm like, oh, that's what they're supposed to taste like. They do them really good down here. Burritos, got to go to San Francisco. And again, I'm talking U.S. I'm not saying that the burritos in Mexico aren't necessarily better. Burritos, San Francisco. Tacos, L.A. Mexican food in general. Enchiladas, breakfast tacos, Texas.
Breakfast tacos.
Breakfast tacos are the best.
You don't eat huevos rancheros?
Yeah,
I used to eat that all the time.
Rice and cheese, eggs and bacon.
No, huevos, ranch eggs, cheese. You have
breakfast tacos are a whole different
no,
world.
I know. But
well, yes, Schnago says, come on, Ace Detect. We know it's all about pie. That is also true. Pie always looks good to me. Pie and tacos.
Yeah, but you don't like apple pie.
I don't dislike apple pie. I don't want to, come off as un-American. It's my least favorite fruit pie, though.
It's
I'll eat it. It's not like I'll refuse it. It's just not the one I get excited about.
I like strawberry rhubarb because I like that texture, that chewy.
I think with apple pie, it's just that it's so common. I'm like, oh well, that's not a treat.
That's what I used to think, and then I went up to. Remember when I don't want to say dragged us there, but invited us up to the Twin Hills Apple Ranch with Patrick and his family.
Yeah, those are great apple pies.
I used to get those. Those are the best.
They're still not my favorite pie, though. It's not that I haven't had a good apple pie. I have, and I think they're good. I just don't get as excited. It's just the thing. It's the thing. We can like different things, people.
Are burritos really an American thing, though? I thought burritos existed, but they aren't, like the concept of what's in it, except for the rice, which is a mission, SF mission.
Yeah.
Thing.
I don't know. I think a burritos is Americanized, for sure.
I know that flour tortillas are an American or at least Anglo introduction into.
Oh, really? They were all corn. Before.
Yeah, I guess when all the English speakers moved into Texas or whatever, and they started Tex-Mex, that was one of their
flour tortillas are a Tex-Mex thing. I don't know that I knew that.
I guess that was their contribution to the cuisine. I'm trying to think of anything else. Burritos.
Well, I used to go to El Patio in Austin, and they would give you salsa, which is the tradition in Texas. Is you get salsa, you get chips and salsa. You don't have to pay for it extra. They would give you salsa, but they would give you saltines. And if you'd have to pay to get the fried tortilla chips, which if you did, their fried tortilla chips were amazing. Like they were made right then. They were super hot and crisp and awesome, but they didn't have just free chips and salsa. It was kind of weird. They had free saltines and salsa. And I just always felt like that was very, very like old fashioned Tex-Mex for some reason.
Saltines?
Yes.
Actually, when you say Tex-Mex, the first thing that comes to my mind is like real chili, the stuff without the beans in it, like it's like meat chili, just meat, and cornbread. Oh
That's not Tex-Mex though. That's just chili.
Yeah, but isn't chili Tex-Mex?
It's Tex. I don't think it's Mex.
No Mex?
I think it's just Tex. It's very Texan though. Yeah.
Let's see.
Texas Chili Parlor was one of my favorite places to
Chili
eat.
food. Pepper.
I had the four it was chili peppers, 4 chili pepper heat once, and it was quite hot.
It's Spanish for chile, means to the pepper. Carne is meat, 1850. Official dish of the state of
Jim says
Texas.
it's Cincinnati chili.
Wait, what's Cincinnati, with or without beans?
Chili.
Oh.
I think of Texas and chili. I don't think it's a Mexico thing. It might have originated there, but when you go to a Mexican restaurant, they might have chili con carne, but they don't have chili like you're thinking.
Ah, chili. And cornbread. I need to eat more lunch.
Yeah, what did you have for lunch?
I had whatever was left over of my chicken lunch meat and a single slice of bread that I wrapped around it.
I told this story earlier, but I had a McDonald's hamburger. A hamburger, not a cheeseburger, not a quarter pounder, not a Big Mac, not a super Big Mac or whatever it is. I also had a salad because after I ate that hamburger, I was like, I need to eat something that's good for me.
Chili dog. That's the one thing I miss, junk food wise, that I won't eat anymore. Chili dogs.
I was never a huge fan of chili dogs. The mess never outweighed the taste never outweighed the mess for me.
Yeah, but did you eat it with your hands?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I just ate it with a fork.
Rookie mistake.
That's right. Like everyone's just eat it with a fork. So, all right.
No, I was told you must eat it with your hands. It's the law. No,
I've never heard of chili. Oh wait, Throomwald in the chat room says I've never heard of chili without beans. I've heard it without meat, but I thought
I've never heard of chili without meat. It's always got meat, as far as I knew.
That was the whole point.
You could have it. The way I was raised was chili had beans, but some people, didn't like having beans or couldn't tolerate beans. They would make it without beans for some people.
The way I understood was just like you're reconstituting dried meat strips that they brought along on chuck wagons for cattle drives.
Yeah.
And the beans weren't originally part of it.
Just spiced it up, and beans. They always had beans. Beans are.
Well, the beans actually weren't part of it initially, from what I understand, and then slowly someone added them for some reason.
Probably because if in that scenario, you probably always have beans around. Like beans are so portable. Every Conestoga wagon had a thing of beans, and somebody at some point decided, let's throw some beans in there too. Why not?
Sky.
Throw some beans in there, Cookie.
PJC Crease PJ Crease in the chat room says Skyline chili does not have beans. Canned chili I hate because it just never. And I always get heartburn. But if I eat chili like it's cooked from a stove or something, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about can. Maybe it's something they put in the can or during the canning process.
Well, there's a canned taste to things.
But why would it give me heartburn? They must cook it in a way for preservation that just gives me heartburn.
There's probably something in the way they're soaked. Because when you properly prepare dried beans, you're supposed to soak them.
I always get the no beans.
And maybe the canned beans aren't soaked in the same way.
I don't think it's real meat. Probably some soy-based chicken.
Chili mac. How about that? Now we're talking.
Oh, I used to do that in college.
Yeah.
Such a bad idea. And I thought I was being healthy by adding those bird's eye, chopped, diced corns and peas. This is totally going to balance it out.
You're not being unhealthy. But yeah, it doesn't magically make it healthy, I guess. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We super appreciate you guys hanging out with us and enjoying the show with us and contributing. And get out there and tell folks about it. And we will see you tomorrow.